What's the problem with the youth of today? They don't understand osmosis. I mean, for goodness sake, how can you possibly go through life without understanding osmosis? Without it, we'd all be dead.
There's definitely a little truth in that. Without it, we would indeed all be dead. To properly understand osmosis, let's start with cells. Let's start by thinking of cells as teeny tiny little bags of mostly water. How much water and how much other stuff in the cell is critically important for cell function. So, what moves into and out of a cell is very tightly regulated. To enter the cell, a substance must first pass through its outer layer. That's the cell membrane. So let's take a look at that. The cell membrane is composed of a phospholipid bilayer with various proteins embedded within it. Phospholipids have hydrophilic heads, which are polar, and hydrophobic tails, which are non-polar. The polar heads can form temporary bonds with water, so the phospholipid heads become part of the network of the temporary hydrogen bonds that water forms. The non-polar tails, however, can't form hydrogen bonds. This means water can't easily enter the non-polar regions of the phospholipid bilayer, so water passage through the bilayer is extremely slow. So how does water get in and out of cells? The cell membrane has protein channels called aquaporins. Aquaporins allow the rapid movement of water into or out of the cell. So each cell is actually full of tiny molecular holes. Aquaporins are almost always open. The number of aquaporins in the cell membrane is dynamic. Chemical signals like hormones or substances in our diet can cause the cell to increase or decrease the number of aquaporins in the membrane. Like other protein channels, aquaporins are specific only to the substance they translocate. Aquaporins are specific to water. They don't allow solutes found inside or outside the cell like ions, sugars or proteins to pass through them. Aquaporins do not use ATP to power water transport, so they are not active transporters. They are channels that simply allow water to freely pass. Water moves in or out of the cell by simple diffusion, driven by solute concentration differences on either side of the cell membrane. Cast your mind back and recall that diffusion is the movement of molecules from areas of high concentration to areas of lower concentration. But how does this apply to water? Well, the concentration of water on one side is greater than on the other side. Which direction will have net water movement? Water will move across the membrane from the solution where the solutes are less concentrated toward the solution where the solutes are more concentrated. Think about water concentration. In the solution where there are fewer solutes, water is more concentrated. So water diffuses from an area where it is more concentrated to an area where it is less concentrated. This continues until the concentration of solutes and water is equal on both sides of the membrane. Diffusion of water across a semi-permeable membrane is called osmosis.